Well, let's get the thoughts now of Rushanara Ali. She's the Labour MP for Bethnal Green and a member of the Treasury Select Committee. Thank you very much indeed for being with us. Is one aspect of these extraordinary times that the opposition may well welcome most of this package?
Well, we've been calling for a massive stimulus package because given the nature of this crisis, both a pandemic, a health crisis, as well as its dramatic impact on our economy, the worst recession for hundreds of years, we need a very, very ambitious program that protects jobs, creates jobs, and that rebuilds our economy, which has faced a massive crisis. And so what I'll be looking for and my colleagues will be looking for today is investment in infrastructure that is job rich, particularly, for instance, in the housing sector, serious investment in genuinely creating a green economy, while the government over the last 10 years has been in retreat in terms of reversing many of the things that the Labour government introduced to try and transition towards creating more green jobs. We'll also be looking for more investment in the public services. The National Health Service and the care sector needs urgent support. Local government needs about 8 billion additional funding just to meet the gaps that have been created by this crisis. So, while some of the things that have been announced already, pre-announced, particularly around young people, I welcome, there's much more to do because there's going to be 1 million young people who are going to face unemployment. The program, the Kickstart program that's been announced last night, is going to help 350,000 young people, but there are hundreds of thousands of other young people. So I think what I hope we will be able to, I hope what we'll get from the Chancellor is a focus both on the public sector as well as the private sector, because the two are interconnected. This crisis can't be solved without supporting jobs, creating jobs, growing our way out of this crisis. But also we could face a second wave in the autumn, which requires the NHS and the care sector to be prepared and better prepared, and for us to have the right investment to make sure that we don't see further loss of life in our country.
Taking some of those concerns that you've raised on housing, for example, there's going to be this suspension of stamp duty, and on the environment, we know there's going to be an insulation package. We think there's going to be further green measures. So along with the youth package, you would welcome those?
Well, we'll have to see what the detail of those packages are. Certainly, I've been campaigning for investment in helping the 1 million young people who are likely to face unemployment. My party has again and again highlighted the benefits of programs like the Future Jobs Fund. What we need to do is make sure that those programs lead to real jobs for young people. In terms of overall investment, the Resolution Foundation said that we need to see at least £200 billion worth of investment in the economy if we are to see a rapid recovery. A lot of economists have talked about the need for throwing the kitchen sink at this if we want to recover quickly from this crisis. Otherwise, what we're going to see is prolonged suffering, prolonged agony, and unemployment hitting, 10% by the end of the year. If there's a second wave, it could be up to 15%. That's a lot of people who are going to face unemployment. So I hope the scale of the challenge is met with an ambitious response today. The jury's out, but certainly we are prepared and willing and continue to work constructively with the government to come up with a set of proposals that meet the challenges that we face in this crisis. But it's very important that the government and the Chancellor continue to listen to opposition parties. And my final comment would be about public service investment. The last 10 years we saw a decade of austerity that hit the NHS, the care sector, local government very hard. And it's very important that the government learns from its mistakes, because the inequalities created by the Conservative government over the last 10 years created the most appalling conditions in which we had to face this pandemic. And it's cost lives in certain communities. Poorer people have suffered more, Black and Asian people have suffered more, women have suffered more in terms of employment. Those who are least well off have faced the worst circumstances in terms of not being able to work from home. Their jobs have disappeared. So the inequalities in our society need to be addressed. Now, I know that can't be done in one statement, but we need to see a proper budget statement later on in the year where the government looks in the round at what the impact has been on our society, both because of this crisis, but also over the last decade of Tory austerity that has created the conditions of what's happened during this pandemic. And the inequalities have literally cost a lot of people's lives.
Rushanara, thank you very much indeed for joining us, Labour MP there.